During Black Monday, which is the annual day of the year where most NFL head coaches get fired, Giant fans were hoping for some news in their department after seeing Dave Gettleman retire or come to a mutual parting of ways. Giants fans were hoping that Joe Judge was next, and as the day went on, the only news was that him and John Mara had a meeting and looked like Joe Judge was going to stay. Until now, where we got the news that the Giants have decided to move on from Joe Judge. So in this video, we're going to talk about Joe Judge being fired, my reaction to it, who should replace Joe Judge, and what else the Giants have to do. Because when you get rid of your coach and your GM, you have a horrible year. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. If you like this video, reacting to breaking news in sports, that doesn't necessarily just have to be baseball. Make sure to leave a like. Comment down below, what are your thoughts on the Joe Judge firing and who should be the next coach of the New York Giants? And what other videos do you want to see? Because I know people like Mets videos, I know they like baseball videos, but right now with this lockout going on, it makes it really hard for me to make videos that are relevant to what's going on. And if you want to help the channel grow and make my day, you could subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. So for me with Joe Judge, before the season started, following the end of last year, I was okay with Joe Judge. I didn't really have anything against him because I did see improvement in the Giants. A lot of their losses were close games, and we said, okay, give this team another year, maybe make some moves, and then the Giants should be pretty close to at least being a playoff team, especially in expanded playoffs. That obviously did not happen, as the Giants only won 4 games this year in an expanded season as well, and they just looked worse every single week as the season went on. Now, it's hard to fully evaluate this team with Daniel Jones getting hurt, but even when Jones was playing, this team was not getting the job done. And what made it so frustrating was the way Joe Judge would handle his press conferences. The moment that I was totally done with Joe Judge, I said this guy needs to get out of New York / New Jersey as soon as possible, was that whole comment about exchanging the snack machines and doing a good job of sharing the copy machines. When your team is as bad as the New York Giants were this year and have been the past few years, the Giants have become one of the biggest, if not maybe the biggest laughingstock in all of football, along with the Jets, of course, the 2 New Jersey / New York teams, because Buffalo doesn't count to some people. And the Giants are a franchise that before this period of the last few years, they were one of those legacy franchise, a respectable team that no one would dare mock because they had the really good pedigree and history of being competitive, not taking losing as an excuse, and winning Super Bowls. And for Joe Judge to have the nerve to be sarcastic like that, it really rubbed me and pretty much all other people in New York the wrong way. It just shows that his personality is not made for the New York media, and that's just the way Joe Judge acted. He would go on these long speeches, and he just had excuse after excuse when reporters were asking him questions about why the team is struggling. And he would just talk about all the process and the foundation and behind the scenes and all this other stuff, but yet we're not seeing any improvement on the field. And then what had to be the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, was, of course, that quarterback sneak, calling it on 3rd and 9. You're on the wrong side of the field. You're by your own end zone. That may be one of the worst play calls we've ever seen. And yes, you could blame Freddie Kitchens. He probably has to go as well after calling that. But as the head coach, you're the CEO. You're the guy that could override and say, no, Freddie, that is no way we are doing that. You have got to call something else. Even if it's a halfback dive up the middle, you got to do something else. It cannot be a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 when you're totally out of it. And I thought that following the meeting and the fact that Joe Judge did not get fired yesterday, I kind of thought that they were going to give him one more chance, which wouldn't surprise me because every coach that the Giants fire, it just makes them look worse and worse because, I mean, how many coaches has this been in the last 5 years? I mean, when you go from McAdoo to Shermer, and now you fire Joe Judge, it's like, okay, now the Giants have to get another guy, and it just continues this embarrassing streak year after year. So now the important part becomes, okay, well, you got rid of Joe Judge. That seems like a huge accomplishment because pretty much every Giants fan wanted him gone. But who do you replace Joe Judge with? Because it's so easy when a team is struggling, no matter what sport it is, you say, oh, fire the coach. He's got to go. He's not doing good. Our team stinks. After you fire the coach, you need to have a viable replacement. You need to have someone say, okay, this coach is gone, but who's going to replace him? How are we actually going to make this team better? And to me, there's one answer right now. It's Brian Flores. Flores just got let go by the Miami Dolphins yesterday for reasons that still don't really make sense. I mean, if he doesn't get along with Tua or he doesn't get along with the owner, who cares? Your team is doing well. Compared to the Giants, who completely died and got worse as the year progressed, Miami Dolphins were 1-7, but finished the season 9-8, including beating the Patriots on the final week of the season. When you're an NFL team like the Miami Dolphins that did not have the biggest expectations and you're 1-7, it is so easy to just give up, quit on Flores, and just be like, you know what, we're done. Let's just tank. Let's get a really good draft pick like you see so many of these other teams do. But that was not the case, as the Dolphins ended up playing much better, having a winning record, and not the greatest talent in the world. So when you have a drastic turnaround like that and there wasn't a huge move you made to help the roster, a lot of the credit has to go to the head coach for keeping that team together and actually being able to be successful. And to me, I don't really care how well the coach gets along with the quarterback or how well he gets along with the GM or the owner or whoever. Your job title is to win games. And that's what Brian Flores did for Miami. And when you look at the other candidates, I mean, you don't want Matt Nagy. You don't want some of these other guys that are currently out there. Jim Harbaugh has become a hot name for maybe some other head coaching opportunities, but to me, Jim Harbaugh hasn't been in the NFL for a few years now, and the last time he was here, the 49ers did not play well. Now, yes, Harbaugh did have some success with San Francisco, obviously going to the Super Bowl, and he has had some success with Michigan, but I just think that you have to go off of who has been in the league recently. And the reaction around the league, and even from some players after Brian Flores being let go, was absolutely puzzling. It was shocking. It looked like that Miami was maybe going to hire Jim Harbaugh because of the Michigan connection between him and Ross. Miami has shot that down as of right now. So if Brian Flores is out there, I think you got to take him. Now, in an ideal world, you would like to let your next president or GM, whatever you want to call it, be the guy that decides on the next head coach, but personally, I would not want to run the risk. Go through this long process of interviews, getting your new GM, and by the time all that's said and done, maybe the Chicago Bears already have Flores, maybe the Vikings already have him. Now, as far as who should be the next GM, it's really hard to say. I mean, with any sport, it's hard to just pick a GM off the top of your head. You usually like to look at model organizations. People want to point to New England, but the way I look at it, I look at what's happened with New England coaches. Joe Judge, for example. Just because you come from New England doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at whatever job you're hired for. So it just comes down to the interview process. The Giants could find some candidates that they know from around the industry and see who they like the best. And once they do hire that GM, you have to let them decide on the head coach. Again, personally, I would love to have Flores here. I think he is the guy. But even after that, there still is a lot of work to do. The Giants have got to decide what they're going to do with quarterback. Me personally, I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy. Daniel Jones is a good kid, obviously. He has some talent, but the lack of consistency is troubling. We haven't seen too much improvement in his 3 years. Obviously, there has not been a lot of sustainability. There's been a lot of uncertainty with the different coaches, different players, and all the injuries that Jones has had himself. So it's been hard to fully critique him and evaluate him, but I just think that you really have got to look at maybe pursuing other avenues. If somehow one of these other guys in the trade market becomes available, Russell Wilson, he didn't play too great to end the season. Obviously, we know Deshaun Watson still has a lot of hurdles to overcome before you even think of considering him. But the one good thing for the Giants is that they do have those 2 top 10 draft picks. So whether you want to maybe move one pick for a quarterback or maybe take a quarterback one of those picks or just build an all-around good offensive line with at least one of those 2 top 10 picks would be really helpful, because if Daniel Jones is going to be a quarterback next year, or if you do go for somebody else, being able to protect them is what's going to develop them and what is going to prevent them from getting hurt as often as Daniel Jones has gotten injured. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about the current state of the Giants. I know it's a laughingstock. It's not a good place to be in, but the Jets are just as bad. So, I mean, we'll all laugh together. And until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and make the right decisions, Giants, so we don't have to do a million more videos about firing and hiring coaches.